one of the most important things as human beings that we have. In the mental wellbeing space, we have what we call people of lived experience, and that just simply means, in full, the lived experience of mental wellbeing challenges, madness, distress, mental health service use, thriving, balancing our well-being, and we often shorten it to people of lived or living experience. And we tend to have our own language, preferred language, and there's been great debates over language throughout the lived experience movements over time, and it's very hard to keep up. The language of lived experience is a particularly slippery one. Language generally always evolves over time, and every area of life and work seems to have its own terminology, and we're either with the program or we're not. And some of us are good at speaking and articulating, some of us are not, some of us are good on some days, and today I'm feeling I'm perhaps not quite as good, so it's strange that I picked this video to do today on language, because I'm feeling very tongue-tied and things. So but we're going with it. Look, lived experience language is, as I said, it's a slippery one, because it is a fluid and dynamic thing. It's like a river. It ebbs and flows over time and essentially create its own passage. Language for people of lived experience is kind of a rite of passage, or it should be. In the words of Dr. Patricia Deegan, we have the right to name our own experience. There are just 3 key messages for today. One, what works in terms of language, what words work for someone or an organisation or a movement even, should never be enforced upon an individual, used without permission and based on assumption. That can be the equivalent of oppression. Words are the carriers of history. So when we use certain words in important areas of our life or our work that are important to us, then it's also important to have an idea where those words came from. And it's also important to have an idea what someone who is different to you thinks and feels about those words. So I'm referring to marginalised people and the perspectives that we require in order to use our words more mindfully. And 3, regarding language, we will always stuff it up at some point. And even other people like me that work in the mental well-being sector and all sorts of roles, there will always be an occasion where I do want to put my foot in my mouth with my mint shoes on. It just happens to the best of us. I am very pernickety about language for myself and how I feel about language and how I like to be spoken to and how I attempt to communicate with other people in a way that's mindful, respectful, and all the things that we do in the lived experience peer workforce. But I'm human, and we're all human, and services and organisations are also full of humans, and sometimes something just falls out of our mouth that is a moment of utter carelessness. We weren't mindful. It's not even necessarily an excuse. It is just something that happens, and as long as we're learning and we're open and honest about that, and we gush with our apologies, and then not only to apologise if we have accidentally offended, hurt someone's feelings quite deeply, is to seek seek an understanding with that person, and just have those conversations after the apology, to really understand what that felt like, because it's that conversation post our mistake that burns in the mind. We tend then not to do it again. Those are my 3 tips for today. Have a good day, you rabbit.